sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
And we're live. What's up, guys? Today is Wednesday, August 28th. We are pretty much almost done with Q3. I don't know if anybody's been tracking their goals. We haven't been talking about goals in a while, but guys, now's the time to get back on it, right? I'm not going to go harping into goals today or anything like that, but I just want to highlight that, guys. If you're not tracking goals, get on it, right? Q3 is almost done already. Today is going to be a good call. Yesterday we went in depth on negotiations, talking to people, getting all the way up to that contract, right? Having the discount conversations, we called it. Today we're going to go into filling out the contract, how to actually lock up the deal. We're going to go into negotiation part of it, how to talk to people. We're going to actually walk through the entire contract. I'm going to pull up one of our example TRECs as we created one, and we're going to go through it. It might be boring. Help me. Ask me questions, right? Interrupt me. Get me off on tangents. It's going to be a fun call. Before I jump into anything, I want to bring up next Tuesday, Texas Tuesday, Fort Worth, Hyenas. I always forget the name of that club. Hyenas in Fort Worth. Come on out. Me and Maximilian Deer. He's going to be talking about wholesaling. I have no idea what the hell he's going to be talking about, so that's what's going to make it great. It's going to be a great networking opportunity. It's absolutely free, open door. Come on out. I can't wait for that one. Let's let's jump right into it. There's no need to sugarcoat things and fluff around. I want to get into what you need to know, right? So obviously, what are the things that you need on the TREC that matter? So number one is, who's the seller? This needs to be their legal name, who's on title, okay? All of this can be found out beforehand by going to the local CAD, right? A lot of this information can be all found from public data. Make sure you're talking, we always talk about this, make sure you're talking to the actual seller, the owner of the property. If you're talking to Mary Jo and John Smith is on title, is the owner, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because Mary Jo can't sell that property. So make sure you're talking to the right people. This is why it matters. Number 2 is going to be the buyer. That's going to be you. Very simple, right here, folks? We're not here to reinvent the wheel or anything. So, and then obviously it's going to be the property, but it's not just the property, it's the legal description, the block, lot, all of that, right? We're going to get into that. I'll actually show you that, but that's the difference, right? So you need the legal description. That is not the address, all right? I want to highlight that. You've never looked at a legal description, it's going to look a lot different, and we'll go over that today. Number 4 is going to be your purchase price. That's going to be a cash purchase price. 5, I gotta start writing smaller, is going to be the EMD. I believe 6 is option period, yeah. These are up to you. All of this is up to you, right? All of this is part of negotiations. That's what makes the whole NAR settlement kind of comical, because it's always been up to you. It's all part of negotiations. All of these fees, nothing's set in stone. So, do you need to have an option period? Do you want to have an option period? Do you need to have an option fee? That's up to you. It comes down to the deal. How comfortable are you with it? We'll go over that later on when we get to it. Number 8 is going to be the title company. You better have that already. Before you get to this part, you should have a title company in your back pocket. They should be part of your team, all right? If you don't have one, click on the resources link below and download our toolkit. Our contracts are already in there, pre-filled out with the title company that we trust, all right? And it's not, we don't get any kickbacks. This is just, we love and trust Teresa Myers, all right? So I'll show you that in a minute. You're going to want to know your closing date, right? Because you're going to tell the seller this. This is also part of negotiation. And then the last thing is going to be contact info. For the most part, these are the 10 items you need to know in order to fill out a TREC, okay? There is some things missing. We'll go over that in a minute when I pull up the TREC. Some of the things missing are lease, right? If there's a lease in place, if there's say that again. Financing. If there's financing involved, seller's disclosures. Okay, that's also in there. We're going to get into that right now. It's not daunting though. That's what I'm trying to get across for today. A lot of times, I talk to wholesalers and they refuse to use the TREC, all right, because it scares them. It's a 12, right? No, it's 11-page document, sorry. It's an 11-page document and it scares them, right? Because there's a lot of legal descriptions, a lot of legal jumbo written in here. Listen, this was written for a reason, okay? It was written for both the seller and the buyer's protections, Okay, and you're going to go over when you sit down. Part of negotiations, part of that being the professional is having adult conversations, is walking the seller through this. Okay, so they understand all the aspects of the deal. You're not trying to get anything under anybody or over. Under, over. You're not trying to get anything over anybody. Over, under. Let's jump into it. Can you guys read that? Drop it in the comments. Let me know if you can read that wide. All right, sounds good. Got a sound off. Looks good. This is really simple, guys. It's literally. Sorry, I'm fixing my screens. It's literally spelt out for you. Okay, so right out of the beginning, you're gonna have the seller and buyer. Okay, on this one, Brooke Harris, Neil Alexander, you can go to a CAD and pull this up. All right, this is just an example of one, but if you don't know, you have to make sure it's the right people, right? If it's an entity, if you're buying a property from Joe's Walnut Shack LLC, make sure that's on there, all right? That's where it needs to go. The seller, buyer is obviously you. If you're gonna buy it in an entity, make sure you put it on there, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna have to do addendums and everything. That's the whole, yes, you can mess this up a little. There is wiggle room, but make sure you're putting it as accurate as you can. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do a lot of addendums, okay? Moving right down, the lot, legal description, all of this is found on local CAD, okay? You can find this sometimes on Zillow and stuff like that. They'll have it, Realtor. But for the most part, tax, right? You're going to go right to Realist tax data if you have access to the MLS, and you're going to pull from there. If you guys need me, let me know, drop it in the comments, and I'll segue and I'll actually pull it up as an example of where to show it on my computer. It's not a problem. But pausing. No? Say that again? Yeah, so that's another thing. I'm trying to only say free resources. With that being said, all of the service providers have that data, right? So service providers being Deal Machine, PropStream, Batch, usually all of them have the legal description there as well. So that's where you're going to find it. Moving right down, sales price. This is the agreed upon sales price between you and the seller, right? This is where you're highlighting that it's a cash offer, okay? All of that is right there, okay? Leases. This is, you're gonna, if there's a lease back, if there's residential leases, anything like that. Natural leases are gas rights. If there's any of that, a lot of times you're not having anything to deal with that unless you're way out in the boonies in rural Texas, stuff like that. But typically it's real easy, cut and dry on that. Have to change it that way. Sorry guys, I've never gone over a 12-page document using StreamYard. This is my first. Earnest money. This is where you get to kind of be a big investor, okay? This is the difference between... sorry, I was getting sidetracked trying to think of how I can make this bigger. This is the difference between you and random investors, random wholesalers, right? That they're not going to put up earnest money, okay? You can still do this even if you don't have it. And I'm not... you can JV with people. You can get other people to put up earnest money for you if you don't have earnest money. But I'm telling you right now, earnest money is really a nice securing spot for the warm fuzzies, right? If you're having an issue with that. Likewise, if you get another contract, if you get another offer, right? People are like, how do you beat other people's offers? This is the first thing you're going to go to. and you're going to highlight, sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this person isn't putting down any earnest money, or they're putting down a shit, like piss poor earnest money, and they have a ridiculous option period. Okay, so right after this is that earnest money and option period. Okay, this is also where you tell the seller, listen, my earnest money, my EMD is going to go directly to title, right? Title is going to hold on to it. They are the third-party professionals. So at any time, I understand that you might be scared of big bad investor, but you have to realize that there's going to be a lawyer here for you to protect us, right? Me and you. They're going to act as a third-party beneficiary or whatever, and they're going to hold everything. So at any time, go directly to them if you need help, right? Like, you don't always have to rely on us, right? You're just giving them part of like a credibility package. Think of it like that. You're giving them something to hold on to. A lot of times also, I cannot stress this enough, this is where you're going to go and highlight and blow other wholesalers' deals up. Because you're going to go and you're going to highlight that, listen, they only put down $100 earnest money and they're giving you 21 days to back out of it, right? They're giving themselves, let me say that, they're giving themselves, for $100, they just bought 21 days to potentially back out of this, right? So, and this is why we highlighted it here, right? This is a perfect example of breaking other people's deals apart, right? Coming in and saying, it's kind of shady. Did they mention that to you? If they didn't have that conversation with you, that kind of seems bad. At the same time, yesterday, part of the conversation, we were doing the discount conversation. This is part of that. Having the adult conversation. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to put a $5,000 EMD, okay? At the same time, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put up $100 or $1,000, whatever you want to negotiate, and I'm going to market this for 21 days, and I'm going to see if I can lock up a buyer, right? Because it doesn't work for my cash offer, but I'm still securing the number for you. This way, your problems are solved. You're still getting the number you want. I'm going to get it. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go find a buyer, right? I don't know how people talk for hours without dying. I went skydiving. Oh my God! You want to talk about cotton mouth? Instant dry mouth. No, you mocked me for the solo cup yesterday, so I can't get a solo cup. I'm also waiting. I'm not on coffee today. Daniela's out there cleaning it. I was hoping Tommy would bring me in a latte in a minute, but we'll see. We'll see. Termination policy, again, you're going to walk them through this. Read it to them. Termination policy. For normal consideration, the receipt of the seller's acknowledges and buyer agreement pay the option fee above, right, highlighted, giving you the notice of termination to seller within 21 days of the effective date of this contract. Okay, that's if it isn't in there, right? But again, at the same time, you're making sure that the seller understands the entire process. Okay, title policy. This is a huge one. You're checking off that the buyer, me, you, not the seller, is paying for title policies. Okay? This is part of our, hey, listen, our offer is better than going and listing it online where you're going to have to pay all these fees and stuff like that. This is part of your cash offer being a bottom line, like a real cash offer, right? You're gonna handle all the expenses, all the fees. A big one here is the check mark at the bottom will not be amended or deleted from title policy. You just want to make sure you're buying a full title policy, pretty much, right? Exactly. No realtor commissions. We pay all closing costs. We pay all regular closing costs. What does that mean? That means as long as nothing comes up under the title search, and something surprises us, yeah, we're going to cover it. But if all of a sudden a lien comes up and we can't clear it, then we're going to have another negotiation. And I completely understand that that happens. Nothing to be worried about. Don't fret about it. But I just want to have that conversation. You don't want to set expectations too high at the same time, right? Where the hell am I? Title, policy, and survey. We're on the second page now. Page 3, right? Did we update that? Page 3? 3. Yep. So within 14 days of the effective date, seller shall furnish to buyer, or title company the survey. If, and again, this is if they have one. If not, buyer's expense. Buyer will pay for one, right? You're highlighting that to Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Hey, listen, do you have a survey for this property? Okay, if not, it's okay. We'll cover the cost of getting one. We'll arrange it. But you always go to them first. A lot of times they have an old one. If they got one when they first purchased the house, or if it was part of the front side, guess what? Your title company, when they do that, when they pull it, they'll be able to find it. So just asking that information, getting whether or not they have a prior survey goes a long way. So never be scared to ask. But again, highlight. If not, it's no big deal. We're going to handle it. It's part of our closing costs. The only thing really else on this page to highlight is the homeowners association. That's down on E2. So I don't really know if you guys can't see my mouse. How do you find out if it is an HOA? Again, most of the service providers will tell you. You can figure that out through an easy Google search, but just ask the seller. It's a simple thing, right? I'm over here reading this long book of a comment that Kelly Smith just hit me with. Good Lord, Kelly. We just put down cash. All of our financing is private money anyway, so it's 100%. That was one long question, though. I love it. All right, where are we at now? I hit next, yeah. Tidewaters, but none of this really matters. Property condition, we're on to number 7 now. 3/4 way down. Again, right? Ooh. Thank you, Tommy. Property condition. Buyer has received the notice within 7 days. This can be up to you, right? It's a time frame that you're going to say yes or no, plus or minus 7 days, 14 days. But this is going to be your seller's disclosure, okay? You can put all the way up until closing. It's whatever you want, but you're gonna get a seller's disclosure from them one way or another. All right. This is another huge one to highlight for the seller, right? I'm checking off right here that the buyer accepts the property as is. You don't have to worry about any additional repairs. There's no final inspections. I'm not doing any games like that. I'm buying the property as is. with all of it in it intact, right? If you want to leave the garbage, so be it, right? I'm making this as easy as is for you, right? As easy as possible for you. That's your goal. Shit, I didn't scoop onto the next one. I'm over here talking about it. It's this one at the top. Sorry, guys, working too many screens. Buyer accepts the property as is. Check it off. You don't want to start playing the game, the other boxes, right? There's no need for them. You're gonna set the closing time frame right there under number 9. You're gonna go down. You're gonna actually set the date. Let them know. Hey, listen, September 30th, 2024. Is that in the future? Yeah, that's in the future. No, yeah. Sorry. September 30th, 2024, or before if possible, but we have until then, right? As long as title is clear, okay? Because that is part of it. You can literally highlight the entire process that's going to happen at closing, whichever date, sorry, or within 7 days after obligations made under paragraph D. Those are prior, but there were none, okay, have been waived, whichever date is later, closing date. At closing, sellers shall execute and deliver a general warranty deed conveying title to the property to buyer, showing no additional exemptions to those permitted in paragraph 6, furnish tax exemptions, or certificates showing no delinquent taxes on the property, right? Like, hey, listen, as long as we have clear and equitable title, we're going to close. What does that mean? That means at closing, I'm going to be able to get clear and equitable title. You're going to get funding. Funding happens after private transfer. Sorry, I thought it was on this page. It's not. Again, walk them through all of this. This is easy. Possession. Possession. Buyer's possession. Seller shall deliver to the buyer's possession of the property and its required condition, ordinary wear and tear, upon closing and funding. Okay? A lot of times when we deal with owner finance deals, if you're selling a property, okay, if you're doing a wholesale on the outside, this is also something to highlight to them, right? Upon closing and funding. So many times buyers, they want keys right away. Unfortunately, funding sometimes can take 3 days, 4 days, a week. There's a lot of things that can hold up funding. Don't be surprised when you have lenders drag their feet, okay? So my point of this is just highlighting, listen, closing and funding are 2 completely different acts. Tommy highlighted to answer Kelly's question perfectly. Special provisions. Buyer uses non-contingent private lender and is treated like cash. Offer is not or is depending upon your level of expertise and desire to make a deal, subject to lender approval. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tony. God damn, that's hot. What are we talking about now? Special provisions, settlements, nothings. Yeah. Nothing really to highlight here. Okay, you can read this to them if they want. You're going to leave them a copy, right? They're going to get a copy of this from title. Escrow, you're walking through the entire process of it. And now you're on to contact information, okay? You're going to check off the seller's disclosure box. But that's it. That's absolutely it. The rest of the contract are just signatures, legalities, earnest money receipts. Nothing about this is difficult. Nothing about this is daunting. It shouldn't be. It is daunting because it's a 12-page document. But at the end of the day, it's really self-explanatory. You can literally sit down and read this word by word. It's not written. It is written by lawyers and real estate attorneys, but it's not written like a daunting. I've read some crazy contracts before. This is written for the layman person to read. It's written for realtors. Realtors are the stupidest people on this fucking earth, all right? If realtors can figure this out, I'm telling you, you can. So use the goddamn TREC. Make sure you're using the right documents. Don't try to go and use a two-pager, because I'm telling you, if we run across a two-pager, we're going to blow it up. We're going to blow it right out of the water. At the same time, understand how to fill out a TREC. This way, when you come across it, you can blow the other one out of the water. You can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what that person's trying to use as a weasel clause, right? There are weasel clauses built into that TREC for you. The seller's disclosure, the earnest money, option period, all of those are different types of weasel clauses that people use to get out of deals. So if you come across one and you start showing the homeowner the other person's tactics, it just makes you that much more of a professional. They're all out there. I can literally go on Facebook right now and probably pull up a couple deals and find them. But they're going to have realtors involved. So that was, but that was it for today's call. I said at the beginning, it's not going to be exciting. It's a legal document. It's going to be nice and boring. So hopefully I can get some comments to make it more fun. And then Kelly Smith hit me with this damn Bible of a question. And now I got Tony going back and forth rambling. You can use the third-party financing addendum. It works too. Usually the sellers don't care, nor do agents. I suspect as we move through this volatility, we'll be held to higher standards. When it comes to reviewing the actual TREC with the seller, I explain the actual document is promulgated by the state of Texas. Is that the right word?
It's one of those chameleon, right? Like,
yeah, chameleon. It was populated by the state of Texas, so it's fill in the blank. I don't edit it. I fill in the blank. Feel free to read it, but I only filled in the blanks. And that's, again, that's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, listen, this was written by legal scholars that are real estate professionals, okay? It's in the best interest to use the TREC. There's absolutely no reason not to. If you need a copy, if you want our copy, click the link, download our toolkit, and we will literally, it's in there, right? Along with our calculator and all that. If anybody's looking for an amazing networking opportunity, next Tuesday, Texas Tuesday, come on out, Hyenas in Fort Worth. Also, every third Thursday in our office, our open office mastermind event is going to be held. This month's topic is going to be on acquisitions, so make sure you come on out if you want to learn how to buy real estate off-market, direct-to-seller. That's where you're going to learn it. Do you ever work with realtors, or do you just go off-market? We only go off-market. That's all of our marketing channel is. We work with realtors all the time. BK Real Estate is one of our best friends, our golden sponsors. We work with them all the time. We constantly refer them deals, and with doing so, you know, you're still able to close deals, right? The goal is to close everything. So if it gets to a point where a cash offer doesn't work, a wholesale doesn't work, creative financing doesn't work, if you wring everything out of it and the only thing that works is going retail, guess what? You still got to get that deal done. So hand it off to somebody that can close it. If you're asking, do we buy from agents? No, we don't. We do get leads from agents. Networking is part of that omni marketing, where we get deals from lenders, right? Where they need help. Somebody's coming into it, they need to refinance, they can't, yada, yada, yada. Hey, listen, can you help them get out of this property? Absolutely. We can go in there and we can help them, help the sellers out. So never close the door on you, right? Work with everybody. But at the end of the day, you've got to make sure you understand what you're trying to accomplish with working with that person, okay? So that's all I got for today. If anybody needs anything, join our free Discord, link down below, join the community. We're constantly in there chatting. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sitting down with Donovan. We're going to be going over dispositions. In particular, we're going to be breaking down notes. We're going to do creative financing. I'm going to break down the actual note calculator. We're going to bust that out. We're going to run some examples. We're going to show different numbers, what makes a good deal, what makes a bad deal, how to compare who's going to buy a note, what makes a nice note versus a shitty note. If you guys bring me another 6% note, I'm going to backhand you. Tomorrow's calls, we're going to learn how to do notes. So tune in tomorrow. If anybody needs anything, I'll be at Hyenas next Tuesday. Keep crushing it, guys. Peace.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.